There it is with the removable winch cradle on there. Okay, so it's Sunday morning and the paint is dry. I just got everything bolted back on.
Dad, are you any good at this?
I don't know, maybe. So I think what I'm gonna do is take off just this shell and leave the brackets on here. So the good news, it looks like there's plenty of room. Looking straight down here, in between the frame rails, sort of right in this channel is where we're gonna put the cross member. Let's get the other side taken off. Should be neat. The goal here is gonna be to take some box tubing this size and get it to sit in between the two frame rails. It'll be notched through this member, but this is relatively thin stuff. This is only like 1/8 inch. Not strong enough, I think, to use as a recovery point. I do have frame stiffeners on this Jeep already. So this is from Iron Rock Off-Road. So this has frame stiffeners from bumper to bumper the whole way back. So the unibody's been reinforced where this all ties in, but the bracket itself is pretty light. So I could go about this a couple ways. I could make a whole new bracket and then attach the tube steel to it. But since I'm trying to run the stock bumper, I'm going to make a piece of plate steel that comes in here and welds to this to beef up this existing connection. And I think that will give me the rigidity that I need to attach to this front receiver point. So the square tubing we want to fit in line with the flat spot on the front of the bumper. So one thing I'm not sure of, if I need to notch the end of the machine tube. I'm really hoping I don't. So if that sits there, you can see in theory the cardboard protrudes. So the edge of this cardboard represents the inside of the bumper, and it looks like there's clearance there. Ideally, this plate will come out around and have material the whole way around the tube. That's what I'm looking for. That way, we're not just relying on the weld strength from this tube to these plates, but physically you'd have to break the base metal of the plate in order to pull the receiver out. All right, so use this to transfer the line to this side of the paper, and then I'm gonna use a square to take a little bit off and transfer my line down. So in theory, that shape, I may have to change the corners a bit, but should fit behind the stock bumper. So you can start getting a sense. Tube will go through like that, and that'll go to those 3 bolt holes. I think I'm gonna end up making this so it's symmetrical with everything clamped together. All right, so those 2 are bolted together. We'll go ahead and make this cut. Bring the bar over here that's joined over here. Bring in my bumper. It's very close here, but it does clear. The reason I'm coming out this far, I'm trying to put tow hooks into the factory locations, and it's going to need to be some outboarded material. So a couple things we want to figure out. Center line of the Jeep, right between the 2 E's on the name. The receiver tube, which looks like this, is going to be cut into this piece and extend back. I want to keep the receiver tube relatively long, that way if I do put a winch in it, it can handle some side loads. Conveniently, this hole right in the center of the front cross member appears to be almost perfect. So one of the things I need to figure out is how far does this need to protrude through the bumper for this to clear, and then I still need to be able to have a pin that I can access either between here, back here. So it is exactly 40 inches long. We're going to cut right through my line on the 20. So here's where the square hole is that we need to put in these plates for the receiver tube to go through. I am by no means a machinist. I'm sort of using this as a glorified drill press. If you need good information on machining, I suggest you go check out like the A-Bombs page, Tubal Cane. I mean, there's a bunch of great YouTubers that are really good with machining. You know, I work around machinists, but just picked up enough to be dangerous. Help get the jobs done. All right, so pretty close. Do a little deburring. I think that worked pretty well. And once it's in place, this will be all nested in like that. It'll all be welded together. And then we'll end up testing it out, see how strong it is. So, trying to fit, I don't know if you can tell, it looks like it's sticking out a little bit at the bottom. And up in here, that reinforcement plate that I have, see a little bit of it there, that is hitting, so we're gonna have to trim that. Where to go with that? I'm gonna burn it in. So this is the final position of the receiver. Still have to figure out how I'm going to pin it, but doesn't get much more low profile than that. I think I'll cover it with either some sort of plug or a front license plate. So, decided I'm going to end up doing an access hole here. There'll be a vertical bolt that's the size, and I'm going to end up welding a nut on the top. So I'll get all this welded up. Okay, so need to find a way to mount these somewhat factory style recovery points, and I want them to come out of the stock bumper ends, have this hole. This one's for the fog light, this one's for the recovery point. So they're basically going to sit just in there like that for putting straps on. So what we're going to do is I'm adding a few pieces of metal, which I've blanked out here on the DeWalt metal cutting chop saw. We're going to start reinforcing this area, welding it all together, and then we're going to plate it in. And then once all that's done, I'll drill 2 holes, and this will get mounted on the bottom just like that. And I think that's going to do a pretty good job. With it being all boxed in, it should be able to handle the loads I'm going to be able to put on this. We'll test it out, see how rigid everything looks when we're done. So, see there, I have that all boxed in. Now we'll make a plate to go over the front, and then the holes will end up coming up through the bottom for the tow hook. So obviously everything's still hot here, but maybe something like that. So to help tie all this together, I added a plate that'll tie the box into that whole flat part. Should make it pretty strong for when I bolt the recovery point on. So we don't want the hooks to have to sandwich between the bumpers. So we're gonna relieve this cut here. So we got all that clearance, so you can see how far the front tube sticks out. And then these tuck in really nicely there. From the side profile, you can see just barely stick out beyond the profile. They are even, it's a little deceptive on how it looks. Just gotta figure out if anything needs trimmed here. Looks like it does. A little bit in this area. All right, so I'm gonna take it all apart one more time, paint it all, make sure everything's deburred, and then that can go on home stretch here. So one more thing, I need to be able to access the pin from down here. So we are gonna make a round hole saw cut. Big scary hole, but okay, so I changed the setup over here to the mill. Since I was a little off center from where I wanted to be, using the mill, I don't need the pilot drill in the middle, so I was able to drill a nice big access hole. So hopefully that'll make getting the pins in and out really nice. Okay, so it's Sunday morning and the paint is dry. I just got everything bolted back on. Picked up a bolt at Tractor Supply last night for there. You can see pretty much it's all the non-threaded section in there where it goes through for the hitch. Tow hooks are on. Not the greatest paint job, but the way we built this, nobody should really see. So here's finished product. Tow hooks, place for the winch to go through. Gotta figure out a cover for that yet, but I'm really happy with how it turned out. I'll show it to you here with the winch in there. There it is with the removable winch cradle on there. Went with the Apex 12,000. Definitely overkill for the Cherokee, but since this is on a portable cradle, I can put it on the E350 van. And there was a sale this weekend, so I like the synthetic line. I think that's a little bit safer and wireless, more water protection. And actually the weight's only about 20 pounds heavier and the line's like 20 foot longer. So let me know what you think.